The history of Mexico is one full of battles and treasons, treaties and alliances. But today we're gonna teach you the route of independence without all that boring stuff. This is History Tour. The Mexican independence is one of the most important events in Mexican history. It is the war that granted Mexico its independence from Spain, making it a self-governing country. Today, we're gonna be showing you some of the most important places that this war took place at. The Lóndiga de Granaditas was a supply warehouse located in the city of Guanajuato, the capital of the state of Guanajuato. In this place lie the heads of four of the main independence leaders: Hidalgo, Allende, Aldama, and Jimenez. The place was constructed in 1798 and it was finished in 1809. 1 year later, in 1810, it was used as a fortress for the Spanish troops. Under Miguel Hidalgo's order, Juan José de los Reyes Martínez Amaro, also known easily as El Pipila, attached a big chunk of rock into his back, deflecting Spanish bullets. Then he crawled all the way to the entrance of the Lóndiga and blew it up into pieces, guaranteeing Miguel Hidalgo the victory. The University of Guanajuato was built in 1732, and during the 18th century it was known as a children's school. It wasn't until 1945 that it was turned into a university, offering lots of educational programs. It is very recognized for its neoclassical architecture and for its 113 stone stairs. I know, it's very tiring, but they hold a special meaning. So let's ask someone if they can tell us more about these stones. Hi!
Hi!
Do you study here?
Oh yes!
Can you tell us something about the stone stairs?
Yes, you see, with the students rise to its end, and the one that reaches the top at the first will be the one successful in their career.
Very interesting. And that is the legend of the stairs of the University of Guanajuato. The callejoneadas are a tour through the alleys of Guanajuato. They are guided by 5 or 6 men dressed in black and as ancient bards. They are known as the estudiantinas. What makes this tour so interesting, funny, and famous among all the Mexican Republic are the legends and the jokes the estudiantina tells you, that go from serious legends to completely funny and obscene jokes. Now, the most famous place of the tour is at the end, which is called El Callejón del Beso, or the Alley of the Kiss. This has a very interesting legend, much like Romeo and Juliet, but our legend, our Mexican legend, goes like this.
The story says that Doña Carmen was the only daughter of an obstinate and violent man, but as it tends to happen, love always finds its way, unlucky as it might be. Doña Carmen was in love with a man called Don Luis. They used to meet in a church near Doña Carmen's house. When they were discovered, she was locked up and threatened to be married to a Spanish man, a rich, noble but old man that would restore her father's decreasing fortune. Doña Carmen and her companion, Doña Brígida, they started planning a way for Doña Carmen to see Don Luis. After many hours of thinking, they found a way. They would buy the house next to where Doña Carmen was being locked up. Don Luis bought the house and they would speak through the balcony, until one day the father of Doña Carmen found them, and he came from the back and he stabbed his own daughter with a knife. Dying, Doña Carmen fell down to the floor, and as Don Luis was holding her hand, he gave her one last kiss. That is the legend of El Callejón del Beso. The church of Nuestra Señora de los Dolores was built in 1712 and it was finished in 1718 under the supervision of Miguel Rodríguez y Chávez. This is the church in which Miguel Hidalgo gave the famous Grito de Independencia in the morning of Sunday, September 16 of 1810. The grito was originally set for a later date, but somehow the Spanish people discovered the conspiracy for independence, so Miguel Hidalgo and his people were forced to start the revolution earlier. The church is also famous because in 1940 President Lázaro Cárdenas made a tradition of celebrating the date of independence in this same church. The tradition also says that this is only celebrated in the 5th year of every presidential period.
The city of San Miguel de Allende was originally named San Miguel el Grande. It was founded in 1542 by monk Fray Juan de San Miguel. The city later changed its name to San Miguel de Allende due to one of the key leaders of the War of Independence, Ignacio Allende. Right now, you can see his house, which is now Cultural Heritage of Mexico. You can see it as a museum. You can go, you can take pictures, and you can see where one of the key leaders of the War of Independence was born and raised. The city is a very small one. You could consider it a town, but it gained its rank of city on March 8, 1826.
The church of San Miguel Arcangel was built along with the city in 1555. We know from a document that it fell down in 1649, and it was rebuilt in 1680 under the direction of architect Marco Antonio Sobrarias. It fell down again and it was rebuilt in 1709. Years later, in 1880 and 1890, a person called Don Seferino Gutierrez was commanded by the bishop of the time to rebuild almost all the church. He rebuilt the towers, the front part, and almost every part of the church to a Gothic style of medieval Europe. This style is the one that preserves until this day. Many people say that it doesn't correspond with the square that is in front of it because of time, but many people say that it gives it a life of its own.
Right now, you can see his house as a museum. The house where he grew in was a supply. Merlos.